car with now 91,000 miles.
We get to 500,000 subscribers. This car will be given to one of the subscribers.
Suck it, Mike! I'm going to need the help of my beautiful assistant, Abigail. Now we can simply use our cell phone to tune it.
This bad boy right here, this is a flex fuel sensor. So we're going to be using this fancy AEM wideband.
What the Mike? This is what we have to do.
And behind screen number 1. So now that the flex fuel's on and the wideband's on, we are gonna remote tune this thing in person. I put my HV tuners in read vehicle. Okay, so I'm gonna write this to the vehicle.
Oh.
What was that?
So here at CSP, our trees rain Corvette logos.
And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna actually start a log. Because I'm getting false knock, I want to get in the engine area a little bit faster to give it a good bill of health. So instead of going down the intake path and having to deal with that false knock, we're going to go straight to adding a Kooks header with caddet mids. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. If you're following our project, this is our brand new C7 project, brand newsed C7 project with 91,000 miles on it. What we're doing now is we are doing a header install. We're doing a set of Kooks headers with high flow cats on this bad boy and seeing what kind of power we picked up. For comparison's sake, we did 389 rear wheel horsepower on pump gas on the stock tune and 416 on a flex fuel setup. Because I was suspecting a little bit of a cat failure, instead of doing an intake first, we went right to the Kooks headers. That's what we're doing now. And we're starting with step 1, of course, which is disconnect the battery.
Oh yeah.
See? He listens. That's great. So now that the battery's disconnected, we're gonna get these headers off and put the new ones on. And man, I am excited. I hope that doesn't get me demonetized because I paused. I put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable. First, we disconnect the battery because we are gonna take this fuse panel, fuse box out of the way. This is a pretty simple process. It gives you lots of access if you're doing headers or spark plugs or whatever down there. First, take off the, was that a 13?
Yep, 13 mil.
13 mil to the power
the battery's disconnected.
Only after the battery's disconnected. Yeah. And then you see these guys kind of pull up like that.
Take those two, put them to the side.
Yep, here we go. So you pull up like that.
Kind of just wiggle her.
Now we have the top part.
Yeah.
That's where all the fuses go, and this is the underside, which is really cool to see. But obviously, we don't have the access that we really need yet. So we got to take off, what is this, a 10?
3 10 millimeters.
3 10 millimeters.
One there. One there. That one wasn't even tight.
Oh, it wasn't?
No.
Mint.
Oh.
Whose fault is that?
It's not mine.
That's right. Probably the dealership or the manufacturer. Because this car was stock, completely stock.
So we have those 3 10s.
Okay.
And then you have to remove the ECU connector. So there's a little tab. Slide it back.
Okay, I see the tab. You press that tab in.
Mm-hmm. In.
Okay, I'm gonna
Try that one.
you try it. You try it. You know, I gave up. Go ahead. You do it.
Push in. In, back, and out.
That one was tough. It was. Say it, please.
I'm not done.
Okay, don't.
Nope.
Fine. So much for a Christmas bonus for you, Mike.
Fuck. Man, I had a baby.
That wasn't my fault.
Take your time.
Easy. Now look at that extra room. Now this was all accomplished by a 10 and a 13. And the rest of it was just using your hands. And what wonderful access you have. All right. Let's get some plug-a-doodle-doos out. Got to take off that whole tunnel plate. Sucks. And then we'll disconnect right here. So we're going to remove the mid pipe, the factory mid pipe. This is a kid's channel. You can't say she's coming on it. So we're taking these fellows out for easier access to the cat. What you can see is sometimes this is tough to get these bad boys out.
The only one tough is this back one here.
Yeah.
It's over here. You got to kind of use a pry bar and some muscle.
Now, are we able to, I can't remember, it's been a long time. We're able to take this out as one piece,
No,
right?
not on C7.
Great. Okay. Well, muscle it up, Mike.
Yeah.
These bad boys are off. I don't know that we're going to be able to see anything in there. It's
Pretty dark.
oh yeah, you can't really see anything.
Can't really see.
Maybe if we scope, shake it. You don't hear it.
No.
Well, we're just going to keep on plugging and chugging here. We got to get the steering shaft off. It's basically one bolt, and then we swing it to the side. What I highly recommend when we do something like that is make sure that the wheels are straight. Come on over here. The battery is off. Take your seat belt and feed it right through your steering wheel. So I like to do it just like this. That way you don't rotate it by mistake one or two times and then suddenly you have a broken clock spring and have to pull all that crap off. Get all that space for activities. We'll just have to put headers back on. I want you guys to see the difference. We got the fancy factory manifolds. This one is one of the sides and that one's the other side. That one's the left-hand side and this one's the right-hand side. See that fanciness? And then, of course, we are going to be replacing it with this beautiful Kooks setup here. This is a Kooks 2-inch setup that is an entire long tube setup that then has an X-pipe with cats. Where are the kitty cats? See, there are kitty cats that are going on this bad boy. And it should sound a lot different. I did get an exhaust video on the dyno, so we'll just have to compare the difference. Now, before you throw this up, you want to do this before you put the headers on. Otherwise, it is an absolute monstrosity trying to put the O2 sensors on while the headers are mounted in the car. And one of the beautiful things of this Cadett setup is that Kooks has been so kind enough to add a wideband bung in, plugged up, of course, before the cap. This is wonderful. And it's also on the side that we have already installed the wideband bung on, or the wideband sensor in, so that's really, really convenient, so we don't really have to change things. But that's something that not everybody does. And then, of course, you have your rear O2 sensors. I mean, Kooks does a really good job of making sure that you have all the bungs, like, to put all your factory sensors in, which is surprisingly important, at least in terms of having access to rear O2 bungs. Anyway, make sure that you secure any harness up and away from the headers, because you don't want to melt that stuff. Not only can it melt the wire, if it grounds out, it could also short out the computer. So very important that you're careful where you do that kind of stuff. So just feed the headers up from the bottom. Not too bad now. You can see that they're here. Now you'll end up getting the gasket on and having the fun by putting the header on with the gasket. It's really fun, right, Mike? Fun. Getting the header on with the gasket.
It's not bad.
Not bad. That's why he does it. He's the magic Mike.
I like to start with a center bolt, get it centered, and then you can just tilt the front and rear to get the front and rear bolts in, because they're usually the hardest.
Now, Kooks will provide you with new and good hardware, but I still like the factory bolts for the header. So I prefer on my own car to use that. Most of the time for a customer, we're going to use the Kooks hardware that comes on it. The difference is, not anything crazy. The head size is different. So you can see that the head size, and it's a locking nut. This is like a 10?
Nope, 11.
11, great.
Close.
Versus a 13.
Oh, where the heck did that go?
I don't know, but you gotta get that. How are you gonna put this together?
What the? Oh my God.
You don't want to tighten them all the way. You want to give it a little bit of wiggle room. That way, when you're putting on the catback or the mid pipes, you can get it on easier, and then you tighten this thing up. That's, in my experience, the easiest way to get things like fitted up and centered. Well, this is a little bit loose.
It's
Coming together pretty quick now. The labels may have been backwards, which is a little inconvenient because now the wideband's on the side that the wideband's not on. The wideband sensor's not on. Where is the wideband sensor?
Right here.
Oh, okay.
It might reach, maybe.
Okay, hopefully.
If it doesn't, I'm gonna kill you.
And I just pressed this payroll, so that kind of sucks.
Yeah, it's already done.
All my power's gone. So a cool little thing that we've done here is we're just feeding the lines right up through that heat shield. You can see it there. It's sometimes a bitch to get it connected. You'll have to drop the heat shield a little bit and then push it back into place. But it's probably the best way to do it on the C7, especially when you have cats, because these things heat up. They hold a lot of heat. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna work them.
Make sure it's centered.
Oh boy, looking good. How's it coming, Mike?
I hate my life.
You hate your life?
Yep. So I have to move the wideband.
Dude, are you hooking up the steering right now?
No, I already put it on. I didn't put the bolt through, but I put it on.
We should put the bolt through.
I will. I'm working on the...
Just remember, guys, you should do that when you put it on. That way you don't forget it and lose steering at, like, well, when you're driving. Right, Mike?
Yep.
Yep. Yep. He's gonna do that now. I'm excited to hear the difference in sound. They are a nice piece. Kooks makes a really, really nice piece. This is really nice looking from the underside. Like, if you look at it, beautiful all the way through. The only thing that we have to do now is cut these down, because when we put the plate on, these guys are going to hit. You might be able to swing these to a different area, maybe on the side, maybe it's better, in my opinion, if you put them like this and then cut the bolts down so it doesn't hit the tunnel plate. Otherwise it'll send the knock sensors crazy, or you just won't get the tunnel plate on. Again, make sure that all the wires are tucked up nicely and secured. You don't want them, tucked up and dangling, because if you can move it by hand into the exhaust, it will find its way there by itself. Okay, looks like it's time to fire her up. Smoke is normal on first startup because all the oils that are keeping the headers from corroding are now starting to burn off. So don't freak out, but probably get it to a well-ventilated space to begin with. Otherwise, you're gonna stink yourself out. You might also notice up front that there's a little tinny sound. That's normal because these are not as thick as the factory headers. So these hold in a lot of that tinny exhaust valve train noise. Much better than an aftermarket header. It is completely normal. Next thing you probably want to do is let her warm up, let her cool down, and re-torque bolts because they can back out. It's common. Just go over it. Be conscious of it. Maybe carry a 13 or a 10 or a couple little tools with you just in case you need to. Close. We trim the bolts here. You see, somehow there's probably a way where you can get at least one of those, but I don't know that I can get into the other one.
Oh, don't burn the camera.
Yeah. So now with that installed, we're going to get her back on the dyno and see what kind of power we picked up. Now for comparison purposes, this was dynoing at 389 on the stock tune with flex fuel enabled, but on 12% ethanol. It dynoed lower when we had some bad fuel in it.
Yeah.
First run with the headers, expect some smoke back here because, well, they're brand new headers, and once we get this thing really hot, a lot of those oils that did not burn off idling are going to burn off right away, so it's going to look bad. horsepower and 8 torque. And now we're going to get to tuning it. We're almost there. And of course, this video would not be complete if we did not run it on E85. So we're swapping E85 in it right now. Well, we actually already did it. We're just letting it go through the line so we can run her and see if we can get a 20 to 30 rear wheel horsepower increase, which is usually common on these direct injection naturally aspirated engines. That would take it pretty good. In fact, it might even beat Mike's numbers if it can do it. And then we should really cream them for a rematch. E85 time. To 432 rear wheel horsepower, 456 foot-pounds. That's really good. There's a difference right here between pump gas and E85. We picked up almost 20, 18 rear wheel horsepower and 20 rear wheel torque. I'm pretty happy with that. And I'll see you on the next one where we mod it further, where we do our cold air intake and reveal a little product that I think you guys are going to enjoy. Adios. I'm going to show you where a bunch of you usually F up during this install. You could end up breaking them, so don't be a hero, okay? That's the one that you're relying on to get all the bad particles out of the air, so it doesn't go kabooming. You got your little window here, which does absolutely nothing, but looks kind of cool. There's the LT1 intake manifold. Here's the LT2. You can see that it's higher and it doesn't have this like cutoff in the back. He says he doesn't want any part of this now. And again, he tried calling HR and then realized it was me again, so.
Well, guys, we are hiring, and oh wow, we already got one job application already. Sweet. Oh, hell no. Hell no. Fuck that guy.